بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حمدا كثيرا مباركا فيه الله والسلام عليهم وعلى أجمعين بعده أبو زيد أكرم وزاده الله خيرا. Today's lecture, the tremendous Yusuf Salawatullahi wasalam. And as I reference in the Bible that I used to be fascinated about him. There are a number of parallels between what's mentioned in the Bible concerning him and the Quran as well. I remember when I was young on Broadway, there was a show called Yusuf and his multiple colored coats, something like that. And Muhim, he was a Nabi that was mentioned in the Bible. The story of his brothers and the drama that transpired between his brothers is in the Bible. But as we believe as Muslims, the Bible has been tampered with. The story in the Quran is of a different nature altogether. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran, نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن. We give you one of the best stories, tremendous story, and what we have revealed to you, Muhammad, concerning the Quran. And Yusuf is one of those stories. A lot of benefit for why it adab. So Surah to Yusuf is being dealt with in this Mu'tamar the same way Hud was and Yunus was dealt with, to extract from the surah lessons that we need to know. The Quran was not revealed to be played with, a game, the way some people recite the Quran, and his recitation is, you know, singing the Quran and the audience screams, Allah, Allah. But the fundamental message of the Quran and the core message of a Tawheed, the people were screaming, Allah, Allah. They go to the graves and stuff like that. The Quran was not revealed so that you can write in calligraphy the whole Quran around the wall of the masjid. That's from the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah, as the Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the people will make the zukhraf of the masjid. So I've been in the Middle East, in some of the Gulf countries where they have money. So you'll be in a beautiful masjid with a large chandelier, and the Quran is written all across the walls of the masjid, the whole Quran in one consistent line. Quran wasn't revealed for that. It was revealed so that you look at the story, you understand from the story, and extract from the story that which will help you to navigate in what you're dealing with. Surah to Yusuf is a tremendous surah. So in his story is the theme of what we're going to deal with, and that is the encouragement for the Muslim not to be a person who wants to get revenge when it's not necessary. Every person has the right to get his haq back. If someone oppresses you, you have the right to get your haq back. I've always rejected this call, if the enemy slaps you in the right side of your face, give him the left side of your face. If he takes your shirt, give him your pants. If he takes your land, give him your water. Not the Vahabi clan. I'm going to teach my kids that. In Al-Islam, if a person is killed and he's defending his honor, defending his deen, he's defending his wealth, if he's killed as a shaheed. I'll be damned if someone's going to come up and try to harm me and my family, and we're going to say, okay, take my other cheek. It wasn't easy. I didn't have a lot of respect for Martin Luther King when I was young. As I got older, I respected that. It took courage for those people to march. I'm not a marcher, I'm not a demonstrator, but I learned to appreciate what a lot of those African Americans did. But my man was Malcolm X, by any means necessary, although I don't subscribe to that as well, because Islam says no, not by any means necessary. I don't have the time to go through all that. I think you understand. But the point here is this non-violent approach to getting your haqq. I'm not a person who believes in that stuff. So as it relates to Yusuf, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, we see a tremendous example of a person who was dogged out. He was oppressed. And there's no one sitting here who's more oppressed than him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who Allah mentioned, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. You have a perfect example in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he told the people, judge your musibah by my musibah. No one here is going through a fraction of what he had to deal with for his religion. So you look at what's happening with you and you compare your situation to his situation and the rest of the prophets and the messengers, and you act accordingly. Yusuf is a tremendous story. So the issue is about not getting al-intiqam, getting revenge. As I look in the audience, most of you brothers, I don't know you by name, I'm getting to know you, but I know for a fact, it's human nature, that everybody here has been oppressed. Everybody here has been oppressed. We've been oppressed by munafiqeen, by kuffar, mushrikeen. We've been oppressed by Jewish people. Look at what's going on in Palestine. We've been oppressed by people who are Sikhs and Hindus. Look what's going on in India right now. We've been oppressed by the Uyghur Chinese Muslims. United Nations is saying that genocide in 2022 has been applied to those people, oppression. So everybody's been oppressed. But in the religion of Islam, we have these examples and we have the information, as Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَلَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَزْمَ الْأُمُورِ. You are going to hear a lot of what bothers you from those who were given the book before you and from those who are polytheists. But if you have sabr and if you have taqwa, then that is from the azm al-umur. Azm al-umur means those things that everybody can't do it. The knee-jerk reaction is, I'm giving dawah. Uthman Farouk is giving dawah in San Diego. Somebody comes and stabs him while he's giving dawah. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm strapped and somebody gonna try to come and stab me, it's hammer time. For real, for real. I'm not giving him the other cheek. It's hammer time. But the Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came and he was giving dawah, the companions were weak. And it wasn't from hikmah to push back. The Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was sitting at the Kaaba, and the kuffar Quraysh were drinking and getting high, having a party. And while he was at the Kaaba and they were drunk, they wanted to do amusement. So there was a camel that had been slaughtered. He was killed. He was dead. They told one of their servants, take the intestines of that camel and put it on his back. So the servant went and took the intestines, and the Nabi was there, and he put his stomach and his intestines and his entrails on the back of the Nabi. Now you can imagine the stench, the disrespect. And Rasulullah was given the strength of 40 young camels. As Abdullah ibn Abbas said, he had to be strong to carry the dawah. He had to be strong for the Quran to come down to him. Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila. He would be on the camel, and the camel would fall down when the Quran came. وَلَوْ أَنزَلْنَا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ عَلَى جَبَلٍ لَرَأَيْتُهُ خَاشِعًا مُتَصَدِّعًا مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. If that Quran had been revealed instead of on Muhammad, if it was revealed on Mount Fuji, if it was revealed on the Himalayan mountain, if it was revealed on those mountains, the mountain would have fell down. So he had to be physically strong. He could have taken anyone at any time and broke him up. Anyone at any time. But that's now he responded to it. When they put those intestines on his back, and it has, blood and the other liquids from the inside of the camel, and they started laughing at his expense. The companions were sitting there, those who were Muslims at that time, and they're from the awliya of Allah, Abu Bakr. They were sitting there. Not a single person got up. The only person that got up was his daughter, Fatima, who was a young girl. And she walked to him and cleaned the stuff off of his shoulder and his body with her arm, protecting the sunnah, defending the sunnah, a little girl. And then she did something that this mu'tamar is all about. She used the Quran to make a dalil of her doing something. She said to them, the ayat of the Quran, that the man from Ali Fir'aun, وَقَالَ الرَّجُلُ مُؤْمِنٌ مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانَهُ أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَن يَقُولَ رَبِّيَ اللَّهُ. That's what she said. Allah mentioned in the Quran, when Fir'aun kept giving Musa a problem, this man was hiding his Islam. The same way the Muslims were hiding Islam in the beginning in Mecca. Hostile environment. You don't have the ability. So this man was undercover, hiding Islam under the radar. But he got sick and tired of all these mashakil and drama from Fir'aun. He stepped out of the crowd throwing bolos. And he said to Fir'aun, أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَن يَقُولَ رَبِّي اللَّهُ. Do you kill a man and fight him just because he's saying my Lord is Allah, the one true God, I'm worshiping him, and you fight him for that? Fatima, a young girl, used the Quran for dalil. She didn't use the New York Times. She didn't use Ebony magazine, Jet magazine. She used the Quran. And she used to always do that. In the Qissat al-Ifk, when they said she had a relationship and she was innocent, she said, I'm just going to say what the religious slave of Allah said, meaning Yaqub, which is, what's enough for me is sabr, jameel. I'm just going to be patient. She used the Quran for her situation. She wiped it off, and she was the one who said the kalimatul haq. Rasulullah didn't say anything. Abu Bakr didn't say anything. A little girl gave dawah. She was the one who stood up. So sometimes we have youngsters from our community, they look at these kind of hadith and they say, yeah, but if I was there, I would have stood up and I'd have punched them all in the face. And if you would have done that, Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl, they'd have killed you, killed your wife, taken your children, put them in slavery, and the dawah would have stopped. Just like we have right now in the UK And in Europe, people based upon emotions, they want to make al-amru bil ma'ruf and al-nahy anil munkar. It's not about being a punk or a chump. It's about living to see another day. Living to see another day. So Yusuf's story is a tremendous story. You're going to hear from these people and see from these people that which is going to cause you a lot of pain. So you have to have sabr and you have to have taqwa, because that's something that is difficult. In the case of Yusuf, he saw a lot. So I just want to jump right to the point. From what he saw was problems from those who were closest to him, his family members, his own brothers. So if you're a married man and woman, Surah Yusuf is a good story to know how to deal with your children, so that you don't plant the seeds of hatred between their hearts and jealousy. Surah Yusuf is the story to show the template that the Quran brings. A righteous father and mother, Yaqub and his wife, and a righteous son, Yusuf and his brother Binyamin. That may be your situation. But you also may be the person who, the father is righteous like Noah, but the son is irreligious. You have his story as an example. You're the sister who's practicing, like Asiya, but your husband is a criminal, like Fir'aun. So you have to read the Quran and know the story of Asiya and the dua of Asiya. The son may be religious, and the father may be a problem. Ibrahim and Azar. Point is, here, Yusuf saw some problems. And before I tell you about his problem, let me say this, because this is important. The Arabs say in their poetry that the sword, the safe, the sword of your enemy, when he hits you with it, it hurts, cuts you, wounds you. But the sword of your family member hurts more. It's the same sword, it's the same wound, the same pressures applied, same amount of loss of blood, but that one from your relative hurts more because you didn't expect it. You didn't expect it. You expect what comes from the Zionists, Yehud. You expect that. It hurts what's happening to those Palestinians. May Allah help them with the situation, wallahi. That stuff hurts. They're living in an open prison. They have no rights, and the world has forgotten about them. Totally. But now as a Palestinian, is it okay for me now in London to board a plane and blow up the plane with the call, look what they're doing in Palestine? No, man. My mother, Miss Mamie's star was on that plane. And if you come to my crib, where my mother lives, you're going to get halal food. She's going to respect you. You come to her crib with your wife. My mom's is going to respect when someone comes to her house. Oh, you are there with your wife. She's not going to let people in that house. What right did you have to blow my mother up like that? What right? So the deen of Allah and the stories of these prophets, they are to help us to navigate. How do we do things? His brothers, not only his brothers, but his awliya, those people were responsible for him. They dogged him out, like the Aziz. The Aziz only knew good about Yusuf, the wife of the Aziz and those ladies. He didn't do what they said. They dogged him out. His brothers threw him in a well. It's not easy staying in a well. Overnight. Allah knows how long he was in the well. They dogged him out. So now in the story, when it was time for Yusuf to deal with everybody, Allah mentioned that he said, قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخي? Do you remember what you people did to Yusuf and his brother Binyamin? You remember? It's what's called the su'al of a tawbih. Like, you know what you did to Yusuf, all of you. The Aziz, the women, the brothers. And this is the first time Yusuf is coming out. Do you remember what you did to him? And he said to them, وَأَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. You did that to him when you were ignorant. As if he was looking for an excuse for them. This is the first mawqif. It was as if he was looking for an excuse as opposed to taking revenge. He had power in the earth. He could have said, hey, I'm cool with the Aziz. I interpret the dream. Take my brothers, take these women, put all of them under the prison. Put them all under the prison. He had power. He was a minister now. But he made an excuse. وَأَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ. Remember, you were ignorant? So the Muslim is the one who gives people excuses. They were ignorant when they did that. And I say here again, and I bite my tongue for no one. Ibn Taymiyyah used to say that the people of the Sunnah are the a'lamun nas billah. They know the religion. They know Allah's attributes and His names, how Allah wants it to be understood better than all of the other Muslims. And they the arham nas al khalq. They're the most merciful people on the creation. Why? Because that's the Sunnah. But when you look at people who are practicing, Salafi people, a lot of times we are rough and tough. And we have this image that we are rough and tough. Now, we don't have a monopoly on that. Brahwis who practice it like that, Deobandis, Ikhwanis, Sufis, many people are rough and tough. But if we are really following the Quran and the Sunnah according to the understanding of the Salaf of the Ummah, then what are we going to do with the ayat of the Quran? فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Ya Muhammad, it is a rahmah from Allah upon you that you were easy with these people. Had you been rough and tough with them, they would have run away from you. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Ukasha, Bilal, Aisha, Khadija. If you, Muhammad, were the rough and tough, the natural thing from the fitrah is that you got to back up. Your father, you rough and tough with your wife, your kids, they're going to bounce. No, but it's the fitrah. Don't be rough and tough with me. So whenever you see people staying around people who are mutashaddideen and they're there together, something is wrong. I want to repeat that again. We have a leader, and he's our imam, and he is coarse and rough and tough. He'll call you out in the dars. If you ask a question, he'll say, man, get out of here with that stupid question. That's how he deals with everybody. And yet we continue to support him and be with him. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with the aqliyah of al-jarh wa tajrih, al-jarh wa ta'dil. Something is wrong with that. Because the awliya of Allah, had Rasulullah been rough and tough with them, Allah said they would have left him. Because it's natural, it's the fitrah. But when you're in a cult, when you're in a hizb, and it's the religion, you'll make yourself believe that this is from the religion. Like on the 10th day of Muharram, people hitting themselves and blood coming all over the place. They believe that's the religion. Because the religion can be an opiate if you don't know what the hell you're doing. So Yusuf told all of them, you were ignorant. Listen, guys, you see people make a mistake, her hijab is not right, she's jahila. Take it easy, man. He's eating with his left hand. He forgot, ya akhi. He's standing in the toilet, standing up, akramakumullah. And based upon these mukhalafat, we expel people. Akhi, he made a mistake, but it was his lisan, khanahu lisano. He didn't mean to say it like that. During the khutbah, he was saying, Wallahi, we worship Rasulullah with ikhlas. He meant to say we worship Allah, but when you heard he said Rasulullah, he's not Salafi. Come on, man. Yusuf, all of what he went through. He said to those people, you remember you did this to Yusuf, all of you, and you were ignorant. They said, "Innaka anta you Yusuf?" That's when the thing became clear. You're Yusuf? He said, "I'm Yusuf, and this is my brother." The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tremendous hadith. Anyone who has the ability in the dunya to get revenge on someone, but he doesn't do it, يُخَيِّرُهُ اللَّهُ يَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ, Allah yawm al-qiyamah, in front of all of the creation, will say to that person, enter into any door of the Jannah that you want to, in front of the people, as a virtue. So you're sitting there, your mother oppressed you, she dogged you out, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, your brother, he stole your inheritance, your ex-wife, your ex-husband, she called the po-po on you and lied, told the po-po that you did something you didn't do, you got locked up for it, and you harbor in your heart malice because she was lying, said that he raped her, and she knows he did not rape her. He had to do 3 years for that because the law was on her side. He comes out of there hating that lady, making dua in Ramadan. Later to Qadr, the last 10 nights, he doesn't say, Allahumma innaka afuwan. He said, oh Allah, destroy that wretched heifer. Destroy that wretched heifer for what she did to me. Anyone has the ability to get revenge, and he doesn't. He bites the bullet, he eats humble pie, he falls back to the black, and he lets the kid go. He could slap his kid. You guys are millennials, and you have a lot of rights. The government has given you a lot of rights, especially in Europe. The kids in Europe are always ratting their parents out. I have many examples where the kid got the mom and the dad in trouble. Millennials, when we were growing up, some of us is from the African American culture. Sometimes your father only understands one language, and that's the language where he will go upside your head. Or when you go down south to visit your relatives, they do that psychological warfare on you and say, go get that switch. Man, I gotta go get my own switch, man? Yeah, go get that switch. And you better come back with one that's gonna tear your skin up, because if you come back with the fake one and your grandmother has to go get the switch, it's worse. So as a parent, I can get revenge on my kid or my wife, but when you eat humble pie and you deal with your anger management issue, your reward Yawm al-Qiyamah, any of the doors of a Jannah in front of the people. And that's what Yusuf did. He had power. Yusuf, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he's a Nabi, no doubt, he's an example, and they've been equipped. But Allah Azza wa Jal, raggabana, He made targheeb. He encouraged us in many ayats of the Quran, fall back and forgive, man. Now listen, I gotta say this. For those of you who are old school, you know the history. Even right now, there were some brothers who came from New York to visit me. They came out of their way to give me salams. As soon as I came, they left. Last time I was in New Jersey, they came to ask for my forgiveness for saying I was a deviant. A deviant why? Because I didn't get with that Kool-Aid. I don't like Kool-Aid. I don't like Kool-Aid, the real one, and I don't like Kool-Aid in the religion. I forgave them. It was hard though, only because they were persistent, because my minhaj was, I'm not forgiving none of you until Yawm al-Qiyamah, like Al-Imam al-Nawawi. Al-Imam al-Nawawi, who did he not forgive? Al-Imam al-Nawawi said, anyone who calls me Muhyiddin, that was his nickname, Muhyiddin, which means the one who gives life to the religion. He said, when did Islam die that I had to give life to it? Showing his humility. Don't call me that. Sadruddin, Tajuddin. Those names are names of tazkiyah. You shouldn't call your children those names. They're disliked. This is what the Ajam did when they came into Islam. The Arabs didn't call people this name. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, in his book about having babies, tremendous book, these are the names you shouldn't give. La tuzakku anfusakum. Huwa a'lamu biman ittaqa. Allah knows who is, religious. So they call Al-Imam al-Nawawi Muhyiddin. He said, anybody who calls me Muhyiddin, I won't free you until Yawm al-Qiyamah, showing his humility. Now we have people who say, I don't know that I ever made any mistake in the minhaj. If you don't follow what I say, I'm going to bring you down. That's what the sheikh threatens you with. If you don't say what I say, I'm going to bring... Yeah, sheikh, what kind of... When did we become like that? I got to follow you, and everybody who you got beef with, I have to take your beef back to America and tell my mother and my community about your beef? We got some big nuts to crack and big fish to fry to be bringing, stuff from Libya, Egypt, the problems of the world. We got our own issues. But what I wanted to say is, right here in America, the da'wah of the kitab and the sunnah, in accordance to the understanding of the salaf of this ummah, owes a great debt of gratitude to a sheikh who we don't have ghulu in him, Ali Hassan al-Halabi, who now has he's Halabi. Ali Hassan al-Halabi, rahimahullah, is a human being. And like every human being, he gets it right, he gets it wrong. But he came to America from the madrasa of Al-Imam al-Albani, and some of you were not even born. And he started teaching a Salafiyya in America. And we embraced that dawah. And obviously he's from the intaj of Al-Albani, who's a human being. And then the politics of the politicians came, and now the people dogged him out for years. And every time I would see him, and this is the point, every time I would see him, I say, Sheikh, how you doing? How you doing? How you holding up, Sheikh, with, all of the drama? Because I'm going through what he's going through. He used to tell me, Abu Usam, I'm going to tell you this. People who disobey Allah as it relates to you, they dog you out. People who disobey Allah as it relates to you, the best thing that you can do is obey Allah as it relates to them. Don't go overboard. Don't lie on them. Don't make tadlis. Don't do that. And he used to say that, and he seemed sincere to me. Allah knows best. And I would take that advice over and over. I would listen to it, but I found it hard. I found it hard to practice. So my talk today is just as much to me as it is to you. Everybody here has been oppressed. Everybody. I'm not sitting here in a vacuum talking to you, advising you and me myself. I used to get emails from people who got my email. I say you was a deviant. I just want to apologize because now in the fitna, I would just take that email and put it in a folder called Knuckleheads. I don't care how flowery the kalam was. I will put it in the folder Knuckleheads. The people I have a problem with. So we have to overlook. Now, why am I making it personal? I'm making it personal because we want to be against this thing of going overboard in personalities, love or hate. So a lot of young brothers come up to me, oh, I'm meeting you for the first time. Yeah, you meeting me, but I'm just a regular person. The sheikh is the sheikh, no matter who he is. He is not flying around with the malaika. No one is. So respect people without having ghulu. I'm like you. I have children who, if I don't say to them, get up and pray. Get up and go and make wudu and pray. Maybe one of them will let the salat come and go out, like your kids. So if you do have a child who, on his own, he gets up and makes wudu on his own, on her own, and then hits the salat, then you should make sajda to shukr, because that is not the norm for many of our children. So we're basically mirrors to one another, as the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And mu'min, mir'atul mu'min. He gives him advice. He sees in his brother what his brother may not see. But we're also reflections in that. We're very similar to each other. And that's why we have the hukam and the leaders that we have, because of the way we are. We're not going to get leaders like Umar, and we're the way we are. So why give dawah to the people against the hukam when we are reflections of the hukam and they're reflections of us? Ala kullin. Allah mentioned in the Quran from those ayat, وَالْكَاذِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْعَافِينَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah praised those people who they give sadaqah and infaq, and the sarra and the darra, they give money, good times, bad times, and those people who they control their anger. When they get upset and they get mad, they control their anger and they give al-afu. Al-afu, when you say afwan, Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. The best dua, Laylatul Qadr, oh Allah, you love to pardon. You love to pardon. So pardon me on this night. Because if you were to take everybody and hold them responsible for what they're doing, you wouldn't leave any of us on the face of the earth. So that's from the many ayat. And then we have examples not only from those prophets and messengers, like Rasulullah is the perfect example. The man who was the leader of the Khawarij, Dhul Khuwaisira, who came up to him and grabbed him by his collar and twisted his collar and made it tight on his neck. Rasulullah grabbed his hands and took his hands off. He could have popped that man's wrist. He could have physically, you know, this mixed martial arts stuff. Rasulullah will break you up. He was strong. And it's from the sunnah of Rasulullah and the prophets and the messengers to be strong. Not to be a chump, not to be out of shape, not to be a punk. Doesn't mean you have to lift weights and take steroids and take whey and creatine. Doesn't mean that. But people are gonna come after you. Mushrikeen, munafiqeen, Sikhs, Hindus. People don't agree. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam took that man's hand and took his hands off of his neck and his clothes. They said we could see the mark left by what the man did. You know where we come from. You got new sneakers on. Somebody step on your sneakers. Just stepped on your sneakers, man. With some, you know, this Black Lives Matter. Black lives don't matter to some black people. They don't matter to the Bloods and the Crips. They will blast you for nothing. Someone will shoot you for stepping on his shoes, looking at him the wrong way. Not to mention, you know, wrinkling up your stuff in public, grabbing you like that. Rasulullah didn't punch that man in the face. Musa, his nature was, Musa was hot. Harun was not as hot as Musa. Both of them were valued men, both of them. They were strong, and they worked off of each other the way we have to work off of each other. Not all of the light is not shining on me, so therefore I'm not feeling your dawah because you're sharing the light with me. That's all it's about with a lot of the brothers. You getting all the light. You know that Morton salt? I think they still have it. I ain't been here for a while. Do they still have Morton salt? And they have the little picture of the girl walking with the galoshes. She got the umbrella and the little rain is coming down. I think the mantra says, when it rains, we all get wet, something like that. What it say? When it rains, we all get wet. Meaning, when our dawah spreads, we all get the ni'mah of that. But the way I think is, when it rains, I want to collect all the water, nobody else. No. So we see the brothers here. He's bringing his piece of the puzzle to the table. He's bringing his piece, and we're happy. That's the dawah of al-Islam. Musa and his brother. When the man came to ask Musa for help, Musa punched that man in the face, pow, and killed him with one blow. Musa didn't play around. He was in the water taking a ghusl. And where he put his clothes, the rock ran off. I believe in that. I believe in that. Bani Israel was saying Musa doesn't want to take a ghusl publicly, let everybody see his aura because he has leprosy. That's Bani Israel. You're going to hear from them the way their prophets heard from them. They killed their prophets and messengers. Musa was taking a shower, ghusl by himself because of hayat for the young brothers here. Can't go and play basketball, take gym, phys ed, and then after that, you go to camp and everybody is there taking a shower together like that. That's not our deen. You got to do something about that. Musa went and took it by himself. The rock ran off with his clothes. Musa came running out of the water with his aura exposed, took his stick and said, hey rock. He hit the rock. Rasulullah said he put a dent in the rock. He said, I will show you where that rock is if we would have been in that place. The angel came to Musa to claim his life, to take his life. It's time for you to die, Musa. When the angel of death, the angel came in the form of a man, the angel, Musa punched him in the eyeball, knocked his eyeball out. Take my life? What? You look like a man. I don't know who you are. Bam! Knocked his eyeball out. He went to Allah and said, your slave doesn't want to come. Allah said, go back to him. When the angel went back to Musa, his eyeball was fixed. You okay, Akhi? His eyeball was fixed. Now Musa is mustaslim. Ain't no eyeball operation during that time. Musa could see, oh, this is something different. He said, your Lord told you to take the back of a thawb, as many hairs you can hold on to, that'll determine your life. As shahidu min al-kalam, Musa was strong. So some people are like that. Every time he was strong. So when the people go Yomul Qiyamah and they go to Adam, help us, give us intercession. Say, no, I went to the tree. When the people go to Noah, no, I can't. I asked for my son to come. He's a kafir. And he didn't do righteous deeds. Not for my family. When they go to Ibrahim said, no. I told 3 lies. And we understand why he said those lies. Took ya. When they go to Musa, Musa said, nah, it's not for me. I killed the man. I killed the man when I was not a Nabi. I was not a Nabi. But when he became a Nabi, the prophets don't make those major sins. They don't make major sins. They make minor sins. So he was strong. Those examples of what he's showing us that in our deen, there's a balance. So anyway, when the Prophet ﷺ took that man's hands off of him, it's a clear sign. It's a lesson to us. Look how strong he is. He could have beat everybody up. He had the dua that's mustajab. The people of Ta'if threw the rocks at him, get hit all over his head, blood. His wife, our mother Aisha, Ya Rasulullah, have you ever seen a day worse than the day when the people of Ta'if did that to you? He said, no. And he went on to explain. They wasn't hitting him with no little pebbles the size of chickpeas. They was hitting him with rocks in his head, his face, knocked his tooth out. Rasulullah got banged up doing his da'wah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Knocked his tooth out. My kid said, Abi, is this the sunnah? I said, no, man, the police did that. The police did that. That's not the sunnah. We don't want anybody going out talking about knock my tooth out. I want to get my tooth knocked out. No. You want to live to see another day. You don't want to get hit. You don't want to go to prison. You don't want to go to prison like Yusuf went to prison. It's a fitna. So how many brothers have been locked up and they make a very extremely intimate connection with the story of Yusuf? Especially if the dude is innocent. And when they came to get him out of the prison, he came. He gave the interpretation of the dream. As for you, you're going to get killed. They're going to kill you. You're going to get crucified. As for you, you're going to get out. Remember me and tell the king about me. He told the king. The king said, go get him out. Go get him out. Yusuf said, no. Go back and ask those women what the situation. Allah said in the Quran, فَمَكَثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. He stayed in the prison for 3 to 9 more years, and he was innocent. You know how it is right now. We try to tell these young brothers, there's no honor amongst thieves with these gangs. As soon as one of them gets caught, he's going to rat you out. He's ratting you out. So the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if only one time he did this to Dhul Khuwaisira, it shows his virtues. But he did it over and over and over. I don't have time to go into the story, but you have to go back and read the Islam of a man by the name of Thumama. Thumama ibn Uthal. Thumama. How many of you heard the story of Thumama? Now you got to go back. I'm going to say it, you repeat it. His name, Thumama. When they say do takbir, everybody got one voice. But when I'm teaching, you're all over the place. It ain't fair. It ain't fair. Thumama. Good job. One more time. Thumama. Good job. Not Obama. Not your mama. Thumama, a tremendous story. You got to read that story, brother. There was another man who, Rasulullah, the human being, he went to sleep. He was tired. He doesn't deserve to be worshipped. He goes to sleep. He sweats when he sleeps. Go to the toilet. He was born through a woman. Talking about. Tell him I'm a human being. Don't go overboard. He went to sleep. He took his sword off. Why you got a sword? Because you got to be ready for the fight, man. You got to put your seatbelt in. You have to make it tihab, but that's bad. You got to take precautions. Don't throw caution to the wind. You want to get married? Take tests for the STD. All of that. No, the qadr. Now, the qadr is not like that. When he went to sleep, a man came who was a non-Muslim, took his sword off of the tree, unsheathed the sword, put it in his neck. Rasulullah woke up, incapacitated on his back. The man said, Ya Muhammad, who's going to save you from me? Rasulullah said, Allah, Allah, Allah. The man dropped the sword. Rasulullah grabbed that sword, picked it up and put it on him. He said, who's going to save you from me? The man said, take it easy, Muhammad. Take it easy. He said, do you bear witness, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah? He said, no. But I swear I won't fight you anymore. And then these people, you're going to hear from them what annoys you. Al-Islam spread by the sword. What you mean by that? People were forced it. He didn't force that man. He said, I won't fight you anymore. He said, okay, you can go. You can go. And just a few minutes ago, the man had the sword to his neck. That same man, as time went on, he was fighting the Muslims. Rasulullah, the companions, caught him. When they brought him in front of the Nabi, he knew how he was. وَمَا رَسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةٍ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. He was merciful, wallahi. The man said, Ya Muhammad, take it easy. I remember, let me get off the hook. Let me go, I won't do it again. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, La yuldagu mu'min min hufratin marratain. The believer is not stung from the same hole twice. We're dealing with you. I gave you a chance, and you promised, and here you come again, and you want, nah, you got him. But he took it easy with the man at first. Not once, not twice, many times. And then we shift gears to The Salaf of this ummah, Abu Bakr, on the top of the list. Hey, Ikhwani, people really, sometimes we don't really appreciate the position of Abu Bakr. You know, if someone asks you, your little kid, who do you want to be like when you grow up? Who you like the most from the companions? The kid will say, Umar. That's cool. Abu Dujana. That's cool. You know, a man's man. Hamza. That's cool. You know, masculinity, strength of character, you know, bodily prowess, take no shorts. Who do you like? And they say, Khalid ibn Walid. No problem. But you should teach your children, who do you like the most? Who you want? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He was the wisest, most knowledgeable, the most bravest. He was the best friend. And he's the best example after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not only that, Rasulullah says sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Abu Bakr and Umar are the leaders of the people in Al-Jannah. And the only people who are better than them in Jannah from the adults are the prophets and the messengers. So after the prophets and the messengers, the best human being, Abu Bakr and then Umar. The Qissat al-Ifk, the great slander of Aisha. They said that Aisha, the al-Mu'mineen, committed zina because she came into the city in broad daylight with a companion, Mustah. And they were innocent. Both of them were innocent. And when the Munafiqeen saw them, they said, you know what this means. You know what this means. They're having an affair. And then that news spread. And it turned out one of the main people that was spreading that was Abu Bakr's cousin. Which cousin? One of his cousins that he was responsible for giving money to. Abu Bakr was taking care of his immediate family. He was taking care of his relatives. And he was taking care of whenever Rasulullah needed something from the ummah. His money was there. But he was giving welfare to his family members. People think Abu Bakr was just rich. Abu Bakr had Bill Gates' money. But he was a man. رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة. They didn't miss salat. They didn't miss the dhikr. They didn't miss giving money. Abu Bakr gave it. And his cousin said, was responsible for spreading the rumor. Abu Bakr said, I'm not giving him any more money. Get him my money, I'm helping him, and you have the nerve to come and bite off my hand? That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Write a tazkiyah from Green Lane Masjid. From Green Lane Masjid. Young brothers took that tazkiyah, they went to Green Lane Masjid, they go to Medina, and they get accepted. I didn't even know them dudes. They go over and study, and then the Kool-Aid comes because pressure busts pipes. And then the next thing you know, within a year, that kid says, I'm a deviant. Oh, how can he say that? Well, Abu Bakr, he went through more than that, Abu Usama. So when Abu Bakr said, I'm not giving him any more money, Allah revealed the ayat. وَلَا يَأْتَلِ. Don't let those people, أُولِ الْفَضْلِ مِنْكُمْ وَالسَّعَةِ. Those of you who have money like Abu Bakr, don't any of you swear that you're not going to take care of your relatives anymore. Don't do that. أَتُحِبُّونَ إِنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Don't you want Allah to forgive you? Well, if you forgive those in the earth, Allah forgive you. You have afu for those in the earth, Allah has afu for you. Have rahman those in the earth, the one who is over the seven heavens, over his throne in a way that befits his majesty, will have rahmah on you. So, in concluding, we have in our deen that which clearly says you can make intiqam and take your rights. But the way we are right now, we have a lot of challenges. Overlook and forgive and give people a pass and try to be really, in word and deed, the way those prophets and those messengers were consistently, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim ajma'in, and the way those companions were. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاكم الله خيرا. والله cannot imagine Abu Osama, how much did he have to drink and take medication, ginger ale, lemon, just to be able to speak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen him, Ya Rabbil Alameen. So we're going to spare him until the panel. So, absolutely, yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge real quickly that coming to this joint, coming to this spot, this man right here is James Manzone. I grew up with this cat. I grew up with him from 5th grade. It's my man right there. And this brother right here, his name was Bruce White. I grew up with this cat. The brother was bringing me from the hotel yesterday, and my throat, I didn't want to talk to anybody, but the driver just said, hey, talk to him. I was like, man, what's up with you, man? I said, yeah, Assalamu alaikum. He said, you know who this is? He said, Abdul Samad. I said, yeah, Abdul Samad, how you doing? What's going on, man? He said, no, you know who that? I said, yeah, Abdul Samad. He said, nah, man, I'm Bruce White. I said, Bruce White from Central Ave? He said, Bruce White from Central Ave, a Muslim here today. Blew me away. A blast from the past. And here's James Manzone, my main man, 50 grand. Maybe James Manzone is going to become a Muslim like my mother, inshallah, soon. So I'm asking you guys, give dawah and make dua for Miss Mamie's star, inshallah. Welcome, James. Welcome, brother, amongst the Muslim community.
So he's a Muslim now?
He's not a Muslim yet. Maybe you want to become Muslim right now, man. Just become a Muslim. We take care of all other stuff later.